Welcome to the Garage Network podcast. Join us and the occasional special guest as we discuss everything automotive, from fixing cars as a technician, owning an automotive workshop or business, overall work-life balance, and even the occasional laugh. In this episode of TGN Talks, we were joined by Samuel and Chelsea from John Edwards Automotive in Queensland. We talked about their experiences as young technicians in the automotive field, and also talked about some exciting things they are doing for our industry. So we hope that you guys enjoy it.
Probably start with a bit of an intro, guys. What do you reckon?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go. Names. What do you guys do? What are you guys doing?
Ladies first.
Oh, me first? Okay. My name's Chelsea, and I am a just qualified mechanic. It depends who you ask. Some people say I don't do anything, but I think my back hurts from carrying the load all day. No, no, I find like we all do equal work pitching in. So yeah, but
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm Sam. I've been a mechanic. I've finished my time in 2018. Been with John at the same workplace since I started in 2015. So a few years under my belt now. And now it's time to, try and train some of these, up and comers and see if there are anyone worthwhile keeping around. So,
These young people.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's been good, with Chelsea's background and Chelsea's stories, to see her come here and thrive rather than, the experiences she's probably, had beforehand. It was nice to be part of that. Won multiple Apprentice of the Year awards. It's good. It's good to see that as a, co-worker and as a someone that you've been training. It's good to see them be recognised for it. So that's all I'm here for. I'm just here to do the work and tell these young people what to do.
I think you're underselling it, mate. Training someone is a big important role. It's a hard role as well.
Especially training me. Extra difficult. Yeah.
So.
Look, Chelsea said it, not us, right? So,
Yeah, I can feel it. It's all good. I got it.
So obviously you've been with John for quite a while, which is pretty cool. So what do you reckon is keeping you there? I mean, that might be a hard question to answer, but you do find that a lot of people sort of bounce around through their apprenticeships. It's pretty cool that you've stuck it through.
Yeah, obviously, most people, everyone finds, the reality of an apprenticeship fairly hard, especially when you get to second or third year when you have a bit of responsibility and expectations that you got to meet. I suppose most people are the same. But once you get through your apprenticeship, it's more, we're all part of a team. Like it was always we're only a small workshop. There was only ever three of us. So there's John, another mechanic at the time, and me. So it was always, we're all part of the team, we're all, fairly equal. Yeah, okay, a little bit of a pecking order, but it's not,
set in stone.
It's not, the apprentice gets all the crap jobs and stuff like that. So it was, and whenever we had a problem or anything like that, team effort to get the problem solved. It's not, oh, this is your job, it's your problem.
Cool.
So it's just that good environment, which has sort of continued. The mechanic that was here that was above me left about a year after I finished my apprenticeship. So then there was a bit more responsibility on me to, step up into a 2 IC role. But I suppose it's, John's, if you give respect, you'll get respect, I think. So, he's sort of lets me rule the roost a bit, come and go, not as I please, but, the expectation is there to, you're here to do the job. But if you do it, well enough, then it's not going to be a slave driver. It's sort of work at your own pace as long as the work gets done. If you need to duck out to go do something during the day, go to the bank or go do something like that, but that's fine. We got a day's work to do as long as it gets done. Who cares? So
it's cool.
I think it's just, that respect, I think, that John's had, which a lot of employers, probably don't have. You try and get 100% efficiency out of every employee that you have, and you ride them hard and you don't treat them well, and no wonder you got a bit of staff turnover. But you find an employer who looks after you, then as an employee, you want to reciprocate that. So So 8 years and still going. So I can't complain.
Yeah, that 100% efficiency is probably one of my biggest pet peeves. You don't understand. I think when we talk about, especially when we talk about with Pete, he's one of our business coaches, when we discuss, he's against the whole, not going to say against, he definitely follows heaps of matrices and follows all these efficiencies, but the whole 100% efficiency, it's not a thing. It is not a thing. It can't be done. It can be done, but I tell you what, you're cracking a whip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah. There's a difference between taking 4 hours to do a simple service and then you've got your full day's worth of work. You just got to keep chugging through it. And look at that, you've got it done. Happy days. Yeah.
That's it. So you were thrown into 2IC pretty young. I'm going to take it because you look quite young still.
Yeah. So I was 22, I think.
Yeah,
when I finished my apprenticeship. And then ended 2019 was when the other mechanic left, so I was 23, 24.
Well done.
But like I said, we're only a small shop, so it's you're already interacting with customers. The phone rings, it's whoever's nearest to the phone answers it. Doing front of house stuff, invoice and stuff like that. It's all shared responsibilities. John is the one who still pays all the bills and stuff, but
he has a lot of trust in us to look after his company for it.
Yeah, that's it. So it's just one of those things. You just take it in your stride. Just the next level to the apprenticeship, I suppose you could call it. I had that year of being a qualified mechanic, and the next progression through this company was to take a bit more of the responsibility of just keeping the doors open and do the day-to-day running. So
good work.
That's it. But
it's good to see. So I know we've a lot of bosses, a little bit hard to let go, but obviously shows a fair bit of trust in you guys to let you guys sort of answer phones and stuff quite early on, I guess. I think it's a cool way to do it. That's how we do it as well. I think it's it's a small business. Everyone's got to sort of have maybe more than one hat on, which it gets hard, I guess, but it does make it work a bit easier.
But I was just adding on to what Sam was saying about retention. I saw 2 articles, I think even in the same magazine, but of 2 different workplaces. And one was written by someone in the Bosch network that I noticed. So I read it and it was great. I read through it. I read all the way to the end. Sometimes I just usually flick through it, get to the crosswords at the back. Actually, it was really interesting because they were talking about retention in a way that's not necessarily purely based off profit. And from a boss's point of view, that's really rare to read because usually it's like make as much money as possible and get the job done. But I read it and it was talking about buy your staff lunch on a Friday, take them out, let's have social events, make sure that they can go see their kids' performance on a Friday night, things like that, where it's essential life things that work usually gets in the way of, that they're a bit more lenient towards. But then their staff are happy and they stay, and the retention rate is amazing, and there's no turnovers unless different reasons that are out of people's control. But I just thought that was really nice because at the end of the day, we work for the people, not just the bosses. So if
100%,
we're not all sneaking around the fact that mechanics aren't on the best wages in the world, but compared to other trades, that is. But so anything you can do to make them happy, why wouldn't you stay? So I can't picture another place like this that would be as family-like, where it's just that two-way communication where I'm I don't feel comfortable with XYZ, so I'm going to have a chat to John and tell him right now that this has happened, or I've broken something and I need to fix it right now. Because I came from a dealership before this in 2017, and that was the other article in the book, was pretty much rank your mechanics against each other, and then who gets in the top 3 gets the bonus and the rest don't. And that was pretty hard. That was difficult because it was you can work really hard on a really long-term job, and don't get the bonus because someone who's doing the express servicing gets the quicker turnover. Like, so yeah, I was like, I read that one after I read the first one, and I was like, yeah, I can understand from a boss's perspective that that's their way of thinking, that they're trying to reward the people who get them the most income, but that's just how people leave. Like, they don't feel appreciated and part of anything, and nobody's helping each other. Nobody's helping each other because no, you're right. Because they are, they can't lose their own time because they lose money. So they're like, oh, I can't help you. I'm not going to lend you a tool. I'm not going to do this because I have to focus on my own bonus. And that's how it worked at the dealership I came from. So it just doesn't work like that. As a businessman side of things.
That's super foreign to me. All right.
Yeah.
That structure of
doesn't work.
And I've seen a photo of one of my colleagues sent me of, he was at a shop and they actually had on a big screen everyone's efficiencies up on the board, individual with green, red, green, yellow, red, making sure you're within a certain target.
Yeah.
Now look, that might work for some people. That might yellow, better work harder. I can't imagine many people that would be in red and be motivated to go better. And what is that for a team environment? You've now removed the team aspect, and it's now every person for themselves. Done.
Well, that's how it is. And then retention's nothing. People go, no, don't want to do it. But the thing is, what happened with me personally is I thought coming fresh into a dealership straight away, or that specific one, that I didn't know that the rest were different. So I was like, damn, I'm not a mechanic. Like, this isn't going to work for me. So I think, especially from an apprentice point of view, you feel extra unproductive because you're not getting jobs turned over, and nobody wants you because they're like, no, you're going to hold me up. Get out.
That sucks.
So you don't like much. Yeah.
So look, I think I was very fortunate with my apprenticeship sort of going through. I was lucky. I worked with my dad's shop and had a pretty decent sized team, and everyone had time for me. Yeah. Maybe that was because I was the boss's son. Who knows? I don't know. But I felt like they treated everyone else that way as well.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a working environment where the goal is every man from. It's just weird.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's not
Look, whatever. Like, it might work for some people. I shouldn't say it's weird. It might work for some people.
It's different. That's for sure.
Different. Yes, that's what I should have said. Not weird. It's a different way to do it.
Yeah, I think you just know if you feel out of place, and obviously, if you felt like you're being treated differently, you can pick it. And I picked it straight away. I was like, I don't feel team based, and that's what made me feel unsupported, and not just as a woman in the workplace, which is what a lot of people would automatically think. It was just me in general. Didn't feel like I had
person,
that.
Right?
That's it. So,
Let's say, did you find you had any extra hurdles in the way? Because not only were you a young apprentice coming through, probably a bit of a minority girl coming in through as well.
Yeah,
did you feel
definitely.
any sort of added pressure or sort of anything?
Definitely. I don't like to talk about it too much in normal things because people think that I'm leveraging it for things. But I promise it's nothing where I am now. I feel 100% included. But it's funny because you don't feel like a minority until you're in an environment that puts you in that situation. Because here I feel like just one of the people, But I definitely tried too hard to be one of the boys because I was too scared to stand out as not just a woman, but maybe being a bit more feminine.
Just yourself.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm not trying hard. I wasn't long nails and hair down or anything. I just rocked up as I am now. But I found that they used to have meetings before the workday started about me, before I got there, about this is what you can't say, you can't swear, you can't do this, you can't do that. And all the boys are like, oh, we don't really want to. Like,
yeah.
everything's changing because
Chelsea
of
the
you.
party pooper.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, like, you don't have to change yourself. You just maybe don't be super crude. It's like, it's not just for me. Like, we had an open workshop, so customers with their kids walk by and they're
100%.
swearing and throwing things and dropping their dacks to be funny. It's like,
God.
maybe don't do that, not because of me, but because of the business.
Or
Like,
just in general, how about we don't do that?
or like, don't do that. So if I used to bring something up, they would say, this is why we didn't want you here. Like, you're a problem. You're being hysterical. And I'm like, what? Like, so there was a lot of things that I didn't bring up to people, especially my superiors, because I was too scared to be like, I'm causing another problem here by bringing up an issue. It was hard, but like, I understand now that it was just that workplace. It's not all dealerships. It's not all workplaces. But yeah, I ended up leaving that for some reason. So yeah, it was a lot easier once I left because I realized that it was different. So yeah, that was the hardest thing for me. But yeah, it was not the easiest of experiences. But there were a few more apprentices there that they were all men. And I'd chat to them sometimes and they'd bring up like similar issues that I had. And I'm like, I'd be talking to a superior and I'm like, it's not just me, it's this person and this person and this person. And then the superior would interview them and they go, oh no, everything's fine. Like, it's not us, because they feel like less manly if they're like, oh, I'm getting bullied. Like, so then it went back to me and they're like, you're a liar. And I'm like, oh my God, like, when did this escalate? This got away from me. So
that just shows that's a bad culture. That's what that is.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a bad culture of throw everyone under the bus and take no responsibility and all that. That's just, I think that's and like you said, it's not all dealerships, definitely not, because I have seen some that are awesome. But I dare say that it was just one of the ones where things probably stripped under the rug for too long of a time. Yeah,
just like one specific workshop. But I thought that was like how it was. So I left the whole trade. I was like, no, can't do it. I went to uni and I sat on a chair and I did it online and I was like, my mind turns off when I look at a computer. I'm not retaining any of this information. So I ended up coming back to it and finding John in 2020. And I've been here ever since. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how did you find John? Did that come through a recommendation or just?
Yeah, it's a bit of a backwards thing, but like my friend from primary school, our mums stayed in contact. And she's like, oh, I'm taking, like, my mum was just chatting about me to her. And she was like, oh, like, taking my car to the mechanic. I'll just ask them when I'm there. And it was John. So, yeah. It was,
to be.
Yeah, it was really, really uncanny, but great. Yeah.
That's really cool. So do you reckon that John is a big part of that? Do you think that just the way he runs the operation and makes that family feel like you're talking about?
Absolutely. I'm not going to lie. And I've told this to John. I was nervous going into it because I was fully expecting what it was, and I didn't know that it was different still in 2020. And I was like, this is just two people, so it could be even worse because it's just your word against one other person. Like what if something happens and like you get into a fight? And I'm like, oh God. Anyway, I just put that behind me and I'm like, I don't know these people. They could be the nicest people I've ever met. Let's give it a go. And John's a bit like, he'll tell you what he wants. So he's like, have you done chemistry and math, and do you have the passion for learning, because it will never ever end as a mechanic? Like, what have you already done? And I showed him my TAFE classes, but I said, I haven't been in a workshop. This is just what I've done at TAFE. I don't know anything. So we made an agreement together to go back to first year, because I was meant to be going into second year, and I'm like, I don't know anything, and I'm meant to be getting paid more, and I don't I don't think I deserve it yet. I don't know anything. So yeah, we went back to first year and learned everything the right way. So I technically graduated or finished in third year because
Yeah,
I
okay.
did a year. Anyway, so
They signed you off a bit early on
yeah,
because you already had the time in already done. So
yeah,
yeah, cool.
that's it. So I've done 3 years, but I've finished now. So, but yeah, I definitely think that the way John works and runs his workshop, he just treats everyone. He's got 4 kids of his own, so it's almost like you're his kids. Like, yep, let's do it. Like, this needs to be done. I'm going to help you. But not once did I feel like a minority, and I just felt like a person doing my job, and that's how it should be. I don't think anyone should be getting special treatment. There was no like awkward conversations about, or do you think you can lift this because I think you're too weak. Like, it was more so, okay, well, how are we going to do it? Like, how are you going to get there, finish the job? So
how about you just tell me if you need a hand? How about that? How
literally,
simple is that? How
just
simple
talk
is
to me
that?
if you want to. I was like, oh my god, like what a workplace.
Yeah.
It's great. So yeah, he'd buy us lunch and stuff, and obviously that's the way to a mechanic's heart is
Of
food.
course.
So yeah,
Obviously, cock and food. We're in. Yeah.
well, I think like the difference between this workplace and the other workplace is not just the culture of the workshop itself, but the way we represent ourselves to the customers.
Yeah.
So we don't swear at them and like we don't care if they swear at us. Like, we're public school. Like, we're not. Anyway, but like, we just keep that, shirts tucked in. We wash our elbows before we walk into work. So there's just a level of professionalism that I've never seen in a workplace, not just mechanics, but that level of respect that there's two-sided. So we've got customers that have been coming for 30 years and there's heaps of them. So like, just that relationship is so trusting, and John will say, this is something we need to fix on your car and here's why, and let me show you a photo or the part and explain it to people, even if they don't really ask for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, okay, I don't get it. But like, yeah, I think that's really interesting because John's very hands-on in that way. And I think it comes from being a dad as well, where he's just like, if this was my daughter, I would want them to not be ripped off, like
100%.
So yeah, we have a lot of trusting people come through our doors. So
yeah, look, we that's literally how we do our process as well. And you know how many times the customer will just look at you with a blank face, like, I don't know what you're showing me, customer. No, I'll explain to you. It's like, I've got to go, Costa. It's like, yeah, but it'll just take a minute or two. Let me just explain to you what's happened here.
They're like, okay.
They're like, all right, whatever, man. Just can I pay my bill and go? Like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool that we offer that sort of personal relationship.
So if you could speak to, let's say, some bosses out there. Now, you've probably already mentioned most of them. If you had some key points for them to take home to keep, the employees happy, like, we say, lunch and coffee. That's obviously the most important one. But any other pointers that you would probably, as a younger individual coming in the industry and just completing your tradesmanship and all that sort of jazz, would you have any recommendations for them?
Like, one word: communication.
Yeah.
So like, I said this to the schools I was even talking to about the people who are going into it. I said, like, for interviews, for instance, so hiring an apprentice or hiring a mechanic, it's a two-way thing, and a lot of people don't realize it because, like, I really want the job. It's like, yeah, but do you? Like, how do you know what they're offering? Like, culture-wise, like, that's what John's probably taught me, is to ask for what you want. And sometimes it's a bit of a shock to some owners when an apprentice comes in and goes, can I talk to your best mechanic? Can I talk to other apprentices? Like, can I spend a day here and watch what you guys do? Like, all of these things. And they go, oh, like, you came prepared.
I'd be so excited. If someone came in at a job interview and said, "Can I speak to one of your techs?" I'd probably start crying from happiness and be like, "You're hired. Don't worry about it."
And especially inexperienced or younger people, or people who've left other jobs to come into trades for the first time. Like, they just don't know what they're doing to get into it. Like, but that's why it's okay to not know. That's what the questions are for in the interview. But yeah, I think, like, as a owner, if I was the owner, I would definitely want to see that two-sided communication rather than the one. But every month, John and I, and the rest of us, sit down, including our admin lady, Claire, and we talk about, like, everything that's going right, everything that's maybe not going right, and how we can fix it. And things that we want to see more or less of, not just jobs. So if I go, wow, I'm feeling like I'm really good at clutches, but I'm not very good at timing belts, and I'd like to do more of them with the ability to have the time to do it. So, like, you don't want to get like a car in that's got to be gone by 2:00 and you're panicking and you get a mistake or something that happens. So you just go, like, next one that comes through, I want it, let's do it. And that communication is, like, beyond. Like,
That's awesome.
It's just, like, from a female perspective, like I said to John, like, we need a bin in the toilet, like, things like that they don't care. They don't even put the seat down.
Wouldn't even think about it, right? Wouldn't even think about it. Why do you need a bin in the toilet? Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And we've had an admin lady here for like 4 years, and she's like, yeah, we usually just like work around it, or like,
find a solution.
Don't even talk about it. And I was like, but like, it's just so, open communication is definitely it. And there's a long list of values, and you can get it off the internet. And something that we like to do with school-based people that come in, especially to set them up for the interviews, if they don't even want to go through us or go through an apprenticeship, even if they work somewhere else, it's important. It's a long list of values. So we make them highlight 5 of them, circle 3 of them, and then pick one of the 3 that you've circled. And that's the value that you take through everything in your life. So job, work, relationships, family, everything. And mine was honesty. And there's everything in there, like travel and money and things like that. Sometimes people don't even value it. Some people do. But mine was honesty, because some of them were trust and things. And I was like, if you have that honest, especially admitting your mistake, it's so much easier to get through your workday. Like, John never, ever, ever gets angry at us for making a mistake. And I can see why he could, because sometimes it costs a lot of money.
Look, he probably does. Probably gets annoyed by it, but what he does, he probably understands the part of it, and like, I don't know, it's a bit cliche, the whole "it's not a mistake if you learn from it." Yeah, it's actually true though. If you walk away and it's a lesson learned, look, it still happened, but next time you hopefully won't. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully.
Like Sam accidentally destroyed an engine once, putting a timing belt in wrong. It wasn't actually his fault. It was something else that happened. But things like that it's very easy to go, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like, I understand if you want to fire me. It cost him like $4,000 to fix it. It was a lot. But Sean was like, it's okay. Like, this is what we have insurance for. Let's move on. Let's fix it. Like, let's sort it out. And again, that's probably a fatherly thing for John, because he's got kids that probably tested his patience a few times. But we definitely don't feel uncomfortable going to him with problems. And that's how you get it done and fixed properly and quickly. And you don't hide things from people. Because it does happen in other places where they go, oh, snap that off and just hide it.
Yeah.
Spare bolt bucket, you know.
Well,
Like,
well, look, I had this discussion with a friend of mine who's
mm,
nothing to do with automotive, their corporate world, and their big thing in his business is making it a safe place to make a mistake, right? Because without mistakes and no innovation, all this sort of jazz again with the whole spill. But long story short is if something goes wrong, to be able to go and speak to your superior or to your manager or even your colleague, I fucking broke it, you know.
yeah,
And
you
it's
are
not
huge.
you don't get a dressing down. It's okay, let's work it out to fix it rather than, because like you said, if you're petrified, there's a pretty high chance you're going to try and do everything but to anyone.
Or you try and fix it on yourself and make it worse, or leave it to the last minute and the customer's in the waiting room and you're like, ooh. It's like,
Yeah. By the way, we're getting you an Uber home.
yeah, got your alone car.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, and I'd be absolutely lying if I didn't say that we've had those situations where customers coming, something goes wrong, something breaks or something, and we've just had to work it out. And yeah, they're not always super forgiving, and they're not always like, oh, it's okay. Like sometimes they do get upset with you, but we've never been able to not resolve it. Like there's always been an answer or a fix or something that we can do to get them on the road for the day.
Yeah.
And then we get their car fixed the next day. So like accidents happen. We're not machines,
That's right.
but it doesn't happen every day. That's for sure. Like it's rare, and we do learn from it because we go, okay, this is what happened last time. Let's sort that out. Don't put something on backwards. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, like John having his experience of so long on the tools definitely helps us out with a lot of really random things. Like we replaced a wheel bearing because we heard like a whirring noise, and that was the roof racks. And he's like, did you check the roof racks? And we're like, did you check the roof? No. Like, and he's like, no, I'm serious. It's probably the roof racks.
Think you're crazy.
Yeah. So he did lose a wheel bearing in that.
Yeah.
So it did cost him money for our mistake. But now every time we hear a noise, we're like,
Check the roof rack.
It's the roof rack.
But look, for the cheap price of a wheel bearing, you've now learned to check the roof racks.
That's exactly right.
Not that bad.
That was an interesting day. We're like, oh my god, we thought you were taking the crap out of us. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, again, like we were saying earlier, it's learning from experience. It's never a mistake. I know that people throw that around, and I know it sounds a bit like, but it's still, look, yes, it's as a business owner, do we get annoyed and upset about it? Yes, normally, like, man, it's okay, go for a walk, like, you know. But the reality is, it happens. That's the reality, you know. But I would be just as upset if I did it. You know, it's just what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it. That's 100%.
Now to flip the script a bit, now, any advice for any young, not just women obviously, but also even just young people coming into the industry, anything that you could recommend, whether it be finding the right shop or how to do so, or how do they even go about, you know, what do I do? I love cars. And it's obviously all about Fast and the Furious and building race cars, obviously. Do you have any sort of advice for any young people wanting to come into the trade?
I think work experience is golden, and I don't just mean it from like a free labor point of view, because we don't believe in that. We do pay people for our work experience. But I think if you really want to get a taste for it, you just got to give it a go. Whether it be changing from a place that you think the dynamic's a bit toxic, or getting into it for the first time and you've never ever seen a tool or don't know how a car works, just be like, okay, well, is this going to be something that I can commit myself to fully for the next 4 years?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't go tomorrow and give being a doctor a crack, you know, because it's going to take a lot more brain power than I can probably deal with right now. But like, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's okay. But I think definitely it's just something worth investing a week into and seeing if you actually like it or not, and if you like the people and the relationship that everyone's got with each other. Like that's definitely important. But yeah, I've been going to trade expos at schools, and I created a flyer for it and stuff like that because John's passionate about the academic side of mechanics because obviously he's seen the evolution of cars and he knows how quickly it's gone from mechanical to electrical, and it's going
100%.
to kick us in the butt if we don't catch up with it.
Yeah.
So, like, Sam and I have both gone into EV and hybrids, and we're going into more training for it because it's coming. And people say, oh, in 10 years' time, they'll be driving themselves. I'm like, it's happening now. It's just not in
Brisbane.
So, I think it's just something definitely worth talking about. But this is an issue I had that I've already talked to John about, that it's difficult to try and get kids interested in it because a lot of people have a bad, mentality towards
the stigma's there.
And it is, and you can't not talk about it because everyone knows. It's just maybe a bit awkward, especially talking to a mechanic. They don't want to say you're stupid, but they do sort of think
what it is. Like back probably before this is probably before your time, but I remember that when you weren't good at school is when they told you to go to become a mechanic.
Well, they still are.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's the problem. And I haven't been to many schools, but I'm going to a place on the south side. And I've just confirmed it. And there's like an events coordinator and a futures coordinator or whoever deals with apprenticeships at school and stuff like that. They emailed me back and they said, like, a confirmation for it. And I tried not to pull a Karen and be really offended by the email, but I was like, damn, that's really offensive. She said, and I quote, many of the students will tell you that they want to be engineers, doctors, lawyers, but unfortunately that won't be the case for most of them. So we need to explore other options. And I was like, that's pretty rude.
That's a bit.
Yeah, girl.
Crap.
I was like, was your dream job being a futures coordinator? Probably. Am I gonna crack my knuckles and write this furious email? No.
Well, when she was 8, everyone, firefighter, all this sort of jazz, she wanted to be a futures coordinator.
I was like, you be pushing my buttons, but I didn't want to. I didn't even send anything back, but John and I were brainstorming angry emails. And yet we're like, this is what we're going to say.
Write it all out, delete. Write it all out, delete. Write it all out, delete. Yeah.
That's what we were doing. We're for whom it makes sense. In a really angry, passive aggressive tone. But no, we didn't say anything. But I was like, wow, if I wanted to be a doctor as a kid, and that was my passion, and I wanted to fix people, and that's what I wanted to do, I would not settle for being a mechanic. I would find different pathways if I wasn't getting there academically on how I can become a doctor. What subjects do I need to do at university to get me to a higher level to be able to get into a bridging course, to be able to get into a doctor.
That's probably why you make a great mechanic, because you're worrying about solving the problem, not the actual problem itself, right?
That's it. And this is what I'm going to be telling the kids when I get there. If you want this, you got to get it any way you can. There's no cookie cutter way on how to get a job. You got an OP1, you can be a doctor. If you got an OP9, you can still be a doctor, and a great one and a passionate one. But you got to work a little bit harder to get there. It just is what it is. The school's not for everyone. Some people are dealing with mental and physical health issues.
100%.
It's not, teaching a fish how to climb a tree. Sometimes it's just an unfair advantage for some people.
100%.
So yeah, that's just coming from me, who wasn't super thrilled about school in grade 12 and still being able to thrive in it. And I met a lady mechanic on the weekend. Her name's Brie, and she's amazing. And she left school, I think she said, in grade 10, and she's still an amazing mechanic and married and happy and
awesome.
thriving. And the best in a workshop, you know. So like you can absolutely do it with a different upbringing, and anyone in any job can be like that. It's not mechanics. So I find it really upsetting when people say you're not making it, become a mechanic. So like it's just not true anymore, especially since if you are struggling and you don't want to learn and you don't want to be here, this ain't it. Like, this changes every day. Maybe become like a futures coordinator.
That's meant to be a thriving industry, actually. Future coordinators. It's on the.
Hey, I actually wouldn't mind it. I love talking to kids about it. You know, like.
So that's your future, right? We'll write that down. We'll make a goal for you right here. Future coordinator. Yeah, done.
And I wouldn't be that rude in emails.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Just saying. Yeah.
I'm not bashing this poor lady. I just mean it's definitely just the.
So what we'll do? What's her name now?
No. What's her email?
We'll put her LinkedIn handle below. No, so look, that's pretty cool because we actually tried to get involved with some schools down in New South Wales, and I was met with a lot of, it's not what our parents want, and even one of the other admin guys of the Garage Network, who went to quite a prominent private school where his father was a mechanic also, that put 3 boys through that private school being a mechanic. We try to reach back out and say, hey, I want to have a chat with you guys, about some changes in the automotive industry and all this sort of jazz, and some options for students. And not fit for the parents won't be. It's like, hold on, my father was a mechanic that paid this private school all this money for all of his children, and you're saying that that's not what the parents want.
Yeah.
But yet my dad was one of them. Like, I don't understand.
And proud,
and proud, 100%.
Yeah.
And look, went nowhere. But I think that we were planning about seeing how we can change that. Because I think it's a lack of understanding. Look, and I don't blame them. They're probably stuck. The stigma we've created. I'm sorry. Like,
I know.
I know we try to blame everybody else, but it's 100% our fault.
Yeah.
And by our fault, I mean my generation and older. You guys are probably doing a bit better than we did. So we got to try and change it. That's what we have to do.
Well, that's it. Because it's hard trying to get these kids in, and the industry is not different. And then they're all just coming in and leaving, and coming in and leaving, and it's not fixing anything.
Even at the parent level. So imagine you're a 16-year-old kid, and then your mum or your dad's gone into a workshop to get their car serviced, and they've still got nudie calendars in the background.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't want my kid working.
I don't want my kid. I wouldn't want. Look, even as a older male, I wouldn't want my. I don't think it's a good environment to be in. If that's how the front of the business is, what happens to the back?
That's exactly right. Which is why I respect John for running his business so professionally and openly.
Yeah, love it.
But yeah, definitely that. It's hard to tell a boss what to do though. Like, imagine going in there and being like, no, take that down. That's not professional, all this, all that. And then they're going to be like, now I'm going to put 3 more up. Like, just because you do. So,
but I think that's where
I know people like it, but not everyone.
But I think that's where, like you said, communication, that is so key. That's probably that's up there. So that's definitely a very good point to make.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think if there was that generation, like you're saying, about people who are more passionate and professional and interested and learning at a different time of mechanics, I think that would change the opinion of it. Obviously, it would. But I think in doing so, there would just be that two-way respect that we thrive on at our workplace, which also helps with the bill. Like, I know it sounds bad, but like it also makes people more like, oh, you do know what you're doing. You work hard to do. You're a professional. I'm happy to pay an extra $50 for this service.
But it costs more.
It does
cost more. Like, it does cost more. Allowing John, allowing Chelsea more time to do that job costs more. Buying lunches every day. it costs more. Like all these little things that having a professional, clean environment, it costs more than just leaving crap everywhere.
It really does.
It makes it so. And this is what I try to explain to customers sometimes, especially when they're like, "Oh, the guy down the road is $100 for a service." Like, yeah, cool. Look, that's fine if that's what you want. But unfortunately, the way we operate our business, we can't make money with that.
Well, that's what we try and say too, because we got a $59 service down the road. And I'm like, what are you putting in that jungle juice? Like
that's
that
right.
canola oil? Like,
how does that work?
What? Yeah. And these are people that, especially people that used to have an older, maybe less mechanically sound car, and then they get something like a brand new Mercedes to replace it, and then they go, hang on, what do you mean my service is suddenly an extra $100? And it's like, your oils cost more, the filters are bigger and different, we get the OEM brand and all this stuff. Like, we try to explain it, but I think changing the stigma would also change the professionalism of the whole industry.
100%.
Not just, but like nobody goes up to an electrician that's come out at the middle of the night to fix something for you and go, I don't think I want to pay that call out fee. Like, I don't think you're worth that to me. So it's hard.
Then I won't come.
Go back to bed. So I find this industry in particular is very, it's just lots of people find it unprofessional, which is funny because everyone's got a car and everybody loves their car and relies on it to go to their work.
Second biggest investment outside of the family home. Like that carries all your loved ones.
And we get people that, you need brakes now or your tires. I can see myself in them. Like, fix it now. And they're like, oh no, you ripped me off, eh? And then they leave. And we're like, oh, like baby seats in the back. Like,
that's okay. We've had it's okay. Just my wife only drives that car. It's like, wait a minute. That's wait.
Like, that's the insurance claim waiting to happen. Don't worry about
it. So you don't love your wife? Okay, gotcha. No.
That's just life insurance, right? So that's definitely something that needs to change. But I think John's been trying to talk about getting the Cert 3 into a diploma.
Yeah, cool.
Because it is also looked down upon as a student when they're like, university degree, Cert 3. Like, you can go and make sandwiches in a hospitality class and get a Cert 3 by the end of grade 12. And they're like, that's nothing like a 4-year degree.
Not
like
the same thing. Yeah, it's not the same thing.
It's just a different name for it, but it represents the amount of work that you've put into it. Like, it's a degree level. My sister's done a degree. She's done 2 degrees and in her master's. And we're both doing the same amount of study at home and, working through it. Probably earns a lot more of it. That's different.
Look, but all in time.
That's it. But I find like a lot of people complain about income with mechanics, but it's really about learning how to budget. Like, Sam and I bought our first house last year, and don't get me wrong, we didn't pay it in cash. Like, that's a lot of money, but
it's not how it works.
It's not how it works as a 22-year-old, but like, it can be done, and a lot of people say it can't, but there are sacrifices that you have to make in every job. So learning how to budget's definitely one of them.
Look, that should be taught in school. I've always said budgeting and all this stuff, that should have been taught in school. How to pay your rego, that should be taught in school. Like, these things, a bit of life skill, but anyway, that's a topic that you don't want to get me started on because we'll be here all day.
I 100% agree. I saw that Lakeside, the racetrack at Lakeside is doing, or maybe it's QR. One of the racetracks are doing a like what to do when the police pull you over, and then it's run by the police service. I'm like, where was that when I was like 15? Panicking when there's like lights flashing by.
Do I keep driving or?
I was like, do I stop? Like, do I brake check it? No.
All right, I can tell you, don't do that one.
No, don't do that. But
I did have a question that would have been good to have Sam answer as well, but that's okay. You might know his answers.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing. So
Current
what's
team, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
what's the future holding for
Oh,
Chelsea,
God. That's a
Sam?
deep question.
You know, professional wise, obviously, like, you know, what's the goal? I wouldn't go into full life stuff because that
Yeah.
maybe a bit more personal, but yeah, more
Yeah,
about
like, I want to buy a dog.
yes. So I
So,
want 3 dogs. Yeah, no.
yeah.
Professional wise, so what's on the horizon? Is there a plan now that obviously you're qualified? Sam's been qualified for a little while already.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of a plan?
Yes. So we have talked about our future with John as well. So
Okay,
we
cool.
find it important because he needs an exit strategy because
100%.
he's 61 now.
Yeah.
He'd probably kill me for telling everyone that, but
Well, he doesn't look a day over 42. So
right, I brought a birthday cake in for his birthday and he gave me a written warning. He's like, "Don't ever do that again." It's not my birthday. No, he's great, but he's got a farm and his wife's up there most days, and it's just, I think it's hard for him because that's a long time on the tools. Like his back, he's got like an X-ray of it, and like all the discs are gone, like missing, and you're like, maybe it's time to start thinking about not
100%.
lifting gearboxes all day, and like, he really thrives talking to people. He's really good at the office side of things, but we need him in the workshop. It's hard with just 2 people. So he's sort of pulled 2 ways, like wanting to retire and also wanting to build the business to be able to put someone else on. So we're 3 workers in there and John in here.
Yeah.
But I think eventually Sam and I want to take over the business as our own. Yeah. And John owns the whole building, so he'd be our landlord. So it just worked out really well.
Perfect, yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of what we want to do, which is why we take the time to go to trade shows and speak to reps and speak to we're part of the Bosch network, so speaking to people who are in there, like, what are the pros and cons, what do you like about it, what do you not like about it, like, and that sort of gives you a indication of if that's the path you want to go down, because once you're in, you're sort of in.
Yeah, that's it. No, you're in 100%.
And yeah, that's sort of the thing that we're nervous about, but as locked down as you are, it's also opening a whole new level of independence, and obviously income is more if you own a business versus just working in it. But we're very lucky to be workers. Like, we're happy to be there, but we're thinking, okay, if we didn't do it, what would we do? Like, would we get a job somewhere? Where would we work? Like, so I think the flexibility, I know I say that, but it's less flexible than it probably sounds when you're in it. But the flexibility of owning a business is probably something that we're looking towards. And I want to look after my own apprentices one day and teach them the way I was taught, so no one has to go through what I went through at the dealership that I was at. And so that's our plan, like professional plan. And because John's like, you got all your stuff here already. Like, I
think John's in a very lucky position, to be honest, and then maybe that's something that should be taken home, because we do a few things with the garage and business related, and you'll be very surprised how many people, not only do they not have their ducks in a row to retire, or have any plan in place. Like, what is the succession plan? Like, great business, but now what?
Yeah.
Like you said, in their 60s, and now what do I do? Like, did you just walk away?
Yeah.
Is your business even sellable? Is it at a point where it can be, Whereas having people I've always said, for me, my succession plan will always be, hopefully the guys within my business, the guys and girls within my business, if they can take it over, that is the ideal plan. They know the clientele, they know the operations, they have their stuff here, what a beautiful way to just, and also you're leaving that behind, right? You're leaving it behind to someone who's going to look after it because they've been there for a while, you know, and you can even help with, even as John, even like you said, he probably still loves the people aspect of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you won't mind if he every now and then calls in and says, hey guys, anything?
That's what he said. He's like, I wouldn't just leave you. Like, you buy the business, and he's like, see ya. And then just cuts ties with everyone. Like,
he'll still come every Friday to bring lunch.
Yeah. It's like, bring the pies Friday. Right. Come on, like, but that's sort of our plan that works with his plan. Cool. We haven't like talked about price or anything.
Of course,
or time, because we're not in a rush, and I don't think John's in a rush either. But that's just our plan, like the 5-year plan. But it's definitely an avenue worth exploring.
Yeah,
because as a mechanic, you have so many options of what you could do with your skills, and
you really do.
But I think professionally, it's probably our longest, safest plan that we can comfortably build up in a way that really works for us. And some things we change, some things we wouldn't. And we definitely learn a lot of life skills from John and what didn't work for him, which was nice because you're like,
I might have a crush on John.
Yeah.
Don't tell him that, but I might. Yeah, I really like the way he's doing it. It's really good.
No, it's really great.
You can see it from your staff. Your staff is talking that way about you. That's really strong. That's really well done.
So we're really lucky in both ways. So it's that two-way relationship of again with the communication. Like he asked us, "What's your 5-year plan? Like, what do you want to do after your apprenticeship? What do you want to do with your house? Like all of this stuff." But he helped us buy our house and stuff like that. Like
amazing. It's
been a very personal like relationship we've had with him. So we're really lucky. Really lucky. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
All right. What we might do, might actually round that off, I reckon. We'll stop the recording. Yeah. And thank you very much. Obviously, Sam as well, who only made it for half the thing. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. We've got some of them in there. I'm sure we can always redo it again.
Yeah.
We'll go around too. We'll check in and see where Chelsea or Sam are in a few months or a year's time and see if there's any progress in it. So to all of our listeners and viewers, we'll say goodbye.
Don't forget to join our private Facebook page if you are an automotive technician, and also subscribe to our YouTube and our podcast channel. They are all called The Garage Network. Thanks guys, and see you next time.